In the past, I've chased shiny objects and tried to be everything to everybody because you never want to turn down business, right? But early on in my consulting, I have, really carved out half the market. I've said no to everything fast food related. Any hotels. I've really gone specific around the types of businesses that we'll work with so that we can become subject matter experts. Everything from home and property services to health and wellness to kids, pets, seniors, categories like this that people understand where there's business opportunity to be had. And so by literally taking away half the market allows us to go deeper. But Gene, I've got to be honest, it's something that challenges me on a day-to-day basis. There's so many shiny objects, so many things I want to chase, so many things I want to do. I mean, I own franchises myself. I could put a lot more time into those, but instead I choose to hire really good people to run those for me. It allows me to really stay focused on my consulting business, try not to get distracted.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Jon Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we're going to talk about strategic focus. One thing I've noticed within my own business and with my clients' businesses that the more focused they are, the more successful. Now, you could look at this from a marketing position and you look at your niche and your market. It could be the types of clients you have within that market. It could be the kinds of programs or services you offer or products you offer. But the ones that are much more focused and get those things right and aren't distracted by all the things that they could do actually perform at a higher level. Their complexity of their business is usually much more manageable. And when I see clients that have complete chaos, I realize that they're lacking strategic focus. So in today's conversation, we're going to be meeting with the CEO of FranBridge Consulting. They're an Inc. 5,000 level company. And we're meeting with Jon Ostenson. And Jon and I talk about strategic focus from how he connects to it, how he uses it, what gets in the way, and really talks about, leading principles of strategic focus as his company has scaled up. So if you find that interesting today, you'll want to lean in, take good notes. My name is Jon Hammett. I'm an executive coach. We do leadership development for fast growth companies. Most of our companies have been on the Inc. 5000, but lately we've been taking clients that are outside of that. So if you have a company that is, doing 100 million or 200 million, and you are facing a big opportunity in front of you, then one thing you want to make sure you have is not only the CEO, which is probably you, but it's also C-suite alignment. And you want to make sure you have leadership development where you're able to close the gap between the leader's skills and confidence and your executive team. Now, if you don't have that, or you're curious about how we actually close that gap, reach out to me. I'd love to have a chat with you about your business. Everything I do is very personalized and customized to you. So I don't just have everything I can just send to you, but I'd love to support you. So if you're interested in doing that, make sure you send me an email, Jon@jonhammett.com. The value behind it is real clarity. I've been through this, for more than a decade. I've, had more than a decade of running my own business. I had more than a decade doing strategic consulting for corporate companies. And so all of that 30 years plus of experience, I'm willing to pour into you and give to you. I promise not to sell you in that conversation, but I promise to serve you to the highest level. And it may be just identifying some of your blind spots or identifying the priorities that need to be set as you continue to grow and scale your business. If you're interested in that, just send me an email, Jon@jonhammett.com. It's the best way to get in touch with me. Now, here's the interview with Jon. Jon, how are you?
Hey, great to be here, Gene. Appreciate you having me.
I'm excited to talk to you about strategic focus. Before we dive in, I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about FranBridge Consulting.
Yeah, FranBridge started the company a little over 5 years ago, and it's just taken off. And what we do is we connect entrepreneurs and corporate executives around the country with what we see as the premier franchise opportunities. And as I say in my book, which is titled Non-Food Franchising, our area of focus is all the different industries and business opportunities outside of fast food. And so, we've never seen more interest in what we do and love setting people up for success.
Well, Jon, we're going to dive into this. I know that there's these people out there, but you're the first time I've ever met someone that's kind of helping on the consulting side with franchising. Where do you feel like, why is there such a need for people to look at these non-food franchises?
Yeah, I think for those that are not currently business owners, they've got this innate desire to one day become a business owner. But then also, I know many of your listeners are business owners, and we work with a lot of people that have been there, done that, built businesses on their own, oftentimes without a playbook. And very oftentimes they're looking to expand their portfolio. Either they have the idea of a complementary business or something that helps diversify within that portfolio. but oftentimes they don't know what that looks like, and they don't want to go through all the same work that they went through, starting something ground up. So, love educating and helping them understand this world that we call non-food franchising, how it can be a great outlet and a great way to kind of further build that empire that they're looking to do.
Well, I love what you're doing. We had you on the show. You made the Inc. 5000 with what you're doing. So, and you did it in a unique way. You said about 1.5 employees, and then you've got a lot of contractors. Tell us a little bit more about the structure of your business.
Yeah, it's a great model. So as we were chatting about prior to the show, before this, I had a company of 40 employees. So, we're small to medium size, and it made a difficult decision to wind that down back in 2019. I just saw some writing on the wall from a profitability standpoint, and chose to wind it down and pivoted to what I'm doing now, which I just love. And, I've created a model here where I'm able to scale and have a multi-million-dollar business with very few employees. And so I've got 1.5 employees that report into me, but then I utilize a lot of contractors and outside partnerships. That's really been key. So we present as a larger company out there, and we're able to provide a full suite of services to our clients, everything from funding options to legal reviews to recruiting options and coaching options. But end of the day, I'm not the one that's doing all of that work. And so it's bringing in strategic partners. It's using contractors to kind of augment what we currently do as our core. I'm still working in the business. I work on the business and in the business. So I'm still in the trenches, but I love being customer facing and helping people. So I'm passionate about it, and it's been good.
Well, when our team did the research in you, we want to talk about one of the things that made you guys successful is strategic focus. So give us your best definition of what strategic focus is.
Yeah, well, I'll start by saying I've learned this the hard way. And so in the past, I've chased shiny objects and tried to be everything to everybody, because you never want to turn down business, right? But early on in my consulting, I have, really carved out half the market. I've said no to everything fast food related. Any hotels. I've really gone specific around the types of businesses that we'll work with so that we can become subject matter experts. Everything from home and property services to health and wellness to kids, pets, seniors, categories like this that people understand where there's business opportunity to be had. And so by literally taking away half the market allows us to go deeper. But Gene, I've got to be honest, it's something that challenges me on a day-to-day basis. There's so many shiny objects, so many things I want to chase, so many things I want to do. I mean, I own franchises myself. I could put a lot more time into those, but instead I choose to hire really good people to run those for me. It allows me to really stay focused on my consulting business, try not to get distracted.
Why do you think a lot of people are so distracted in their approach of growing a business?
Yeah, because everything sounds great on paper, and then you get into it, and building a business is hard. Every one of your listeners knows that, and it's easy to see that the grass is greener on the other side and jump to the next thing. And I see that time and time again out there. But you and I are both members of the Entrepreneurs Organization, and when we look at our peer group around us, these are the people that have stuck with it, that have paid the price and built 7-figure businesses. So no, there's the easy way, which is jumping to the next thing. And then there's the hard way, which is sticking to it. And if it wasn't hard, a lot more people would be successful.
I find it's really easy to say yes to a new idea, but it comes with a price. And if you say yes too many times, you find yourself in burnout. Have you ever done that for yourself?
100%. No, that's something that I'm currently doing, is scaling back the number of conferences that I participate in or attend. There's so many things I want to do if I had all the time in the world, but I've also got 3 young kids, and I've got other things that we're involved with here in the community that are taking a high priority. So, it's the whole idea. When you're working, you want to be working, and when you're not working, you want to be off and be able to focus on other things. So no, I'm in that season right now of saying a lot of no's. And, I love what someone recently said: either it's a no or it's a hell yeah, but it's, no subtle yeses.
Now, Jon just said something that I wanted to unpack for you guys. Hell yes or no. A lot of people don't understand this. They understand kind of at a thought level, but they're not executing on it. And what I really want you to describe to you is this hell yes. We know what that's like. We know what it feels like internally. We know the gut feeling when everything's in alignment and everything is saying, yes, this is a good idea. That's the time where you want to double down, put more money on the table, and put your energy and time into it. And then there's the no's. And to me, it's everything else. Everything else is a no. Everything else is not now, because you want to make sure you execute. Now, are there downsides to this? Absolutely. I don't have the diversification of things in my business. I don't have, a lot of stuff that others may have, but I know that when I have a hell yes strategy, And then I'm able to exclude all the things that are distraction. I have a much simpler approach. I have less chaos. I'm able to execute really at the level I want to when I grow my business and scale. And I know I've seen this work for my clients as well. So I just wanted to share this with you so that you have insight on a hell yes or no and how it helps you with your strategic focus. Back to Jon. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And we learned the hard way. I've even said this, my self-awareness is, I think, higher than most because I understand my weaknesses, but I've said yes way too many times. And even now, I felt like I've had too many projects going on, even though I have other people executing. I've got to oversee, I've got to, monitor things, and they get behind, and it comes at a cost. So strategic focus is important. What are the keys you think to having the right strategic focus as your business is scaling? You see this in other businesses, you see it in your own businesses. What are the keys?
Yeah, I think it's being flexible early on. So, don't be focused at all costs. If you're going down the wrong path and you need to make an adjustment, make that adjustment, make the tough call, have that tough conversation, right, Gene? But don't put it off. And so I think keeping that momentum, moving at a fast pace, making adjustments, but all the while knowing where you're going, why you're going there, and making adjustments to the how is key. And I've just seen some of the most successful business owners around me be incredibly focused as well. We all diversify our investments and our wealth. I mean, that's so important. You focus to make wealth, you diversify to keep it. And so I think bringing in subject matter experts on that piece of it, because we're all moving towards passive income and multiple passive income streams. I hear it from people every single day is how do I generate the tax benefits of business ownership and get more passive income streams going. So you partner with the right experts, but then you stay true to your core. And the case studies I've seen, that's where it pays off.
So let's get into the nitty gritty of this. Is there any tools or frameworks that you use to make sure strategic focus is front and center?
Yeah. So when I had my 40-person employee business, we were running EOS. I think that's a given. If an operating system that allows you to use a common language, and everyone has a defined role and responsibility. So, currently we're not running that because of the size that we are, but I think rhythms are an important thing. So when we think about tools or frameworks, that daily rhythm and what my assistant is focused on and the ways that we communicate, and then how I block my time to get as much done as we need to. You have to block the time, automate, delegate, and eliminate. Decide what you're not going to focus on. Sometimes having a list of things you're not going to focus on is as important as the focus list.
I love the no list. And it's one of the things I do with clients all the time is try to create the first initial version of the no list, because I've worked with a lot of different size companies, and that founder to CEO transition is really hard for most people. They're so ingrained into, well, I'd love to be in the meeting. I love to know what's going on. I want to be at insight. They want to be valuable, but they fail to realize that being a CEO has some different priorities than being a founder. Have you seen this in your own journey?
100%. No, that company that I referenced, 10x5 was the name of it, with 40 employees. I was the CEO. I owned 60% of the business. I had a business partner that was technically the founder because he had the idea first and he owned 40%, but I was running the day-to-day. Well, he loved to stop by the office and stop by our team meetings and drop some ideas. And then he would leave the meeting and I'd be doing damage control. We called it the seagull effect. He'd come in, poop, but then everyone's saying, do we follow him or do we follow you? So I finally had to just borrow him from the meetings because there is that visionary, right? That component of, ideation is just spews out of them, but you've got to, again, you can be chasing all things and do nothing well, or you can be religiously focused. Oftentimes that focus comes from the communication from the top, and making sure that it's streamlined and that you don't have people chasing their tails.
Now, Jon had mentioned the seagull effect. Just to frame this in again, it's when someone comes into the meeting, drops in some ideas like poop from a seagull, and then leaves. And so you're left to deal with the poop. And so what you have to be able to do and recognize is that when others come in, whether they be investors or there be strategic partners, or maybe it's even owners, or even it's you, where you come in and leave poop and then let people try to sort it out. It doesn't work the way you want it to. I know you're trying to be valuable. You've got a lot of insight to bring, but it isn't always best to just drop it on them. In my business, what I really want people to do is let the best ideas win, not just the ideas of you trying to get your thing through, because that doesn't work long term. It might work short term, but long term, you want people to think for themselves. You want them to be empowered. You want them to have a sense of ownership. That's what you're looking for as your company scales. So the seagull effect just doesn't work. Back to Jon. Jon, speaking of time, where you spend your time is a big part of strategic focus. What are the tools or approaches you do to organize your time to make sure you're prioritizing the right things as your business has continued to scale?
Yeah, I look at my calendar on a regular basis and I look at meetings and say, are those revenue driving meetings? Do I really need to have those meetings? I don't spend a lot of time with referral partners on calls, these days, because I found those are always good and they make you feel good, but then they don't usually lead anywhere. A guy named Jack Daly was a coach of mine back in the day, who you're probably familiar with. And Jack talked about referral partners. He said, have a couple of key ones, but don't go too far out because they're never going to lead to anything. So I'm very careful about the meetings I put on my calendar. My wife jokes about this. I guard my time. I'm more defensive about my time than I am about anything else. And so, that coffee meeting across town, that someone's requesting, we know that they're going to be late. There's going to be traffic. End of the day, it's going to be an hour and a half to 2 hours, whereas we could get on a 30-minute Zoom call and knock it out. So again, I'm religious about my time management. The tools I use, everything from Calendly to the whole G Suite within Google, everything's tied together, and it helps us on the automation piece.
Is there anything really specific that might be a little bit not obvious that has really helped you with your time?
Very specific. I think it's the to-do list. Using I use Google to-do list, and used to use Trello, but it's all about the automation and then how I communicate that to my team, to my assistants. And so, having those priorities going into each day that I've itemized in Google Task, making sure that they know here's what a successful day looks like, and then being able to measure ourselves. I'm a big scorecard person, which I imagine you are as well. And so we have weekly metrics, and I'm obsessed with data, and what gets analyzed gets improved upon. So that's another kind of nitty gritty tactic or framework that drives what we do.
Jon, we're really talking about strategic focus, and a lot of this comes with being a good leader, being able to delegate, being able to empower people. What are the leadership principles that have put you in this position?
Yeah, I think servant leadership, being willing to serve, and that's every constituency. So that's your employees, but that's also your clients. That's also your strategic partners and vendors. I was fortunate enough to spend a good amount of time with John Maxwell, and he was actually here in town recently, and got some good one-on-one time with him. And there's no one out there that just embodies leadership in the ideas around it. One thing that I took as a takeaway was, get out of the people pile. He's got this new book that's come out, The High Road Leader. But he talks about getting out of the people pile, doing things differently, being that leader that people want to follow. And most of that comes from servant leadership and from showing interest in others.
We've been talking about strategic focus with you, Jon. Is there anything that we've left out of the conversation that you feel like is pertinent to our audience as they execute on their own journey to have strategic focus?
Yeah, I think, again, making adjustments early on, but the more you can focus in and stay the course and not deviate, your trajectory is going to ramp up so much faster. I see it time and time again across industries, across different companies' size. That is the key to success, is being religiously focused and then diversifying on the back end.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of the program.
Thank you.
Wow, what another great interview here about strategic focus and really, how do you connect to it? How do you make sure you leverage that as your company grows and scales? And so if you found value today, make sure you tell someone about this episode or another episode that you've enjoyed here at Growth Think Tank, where we really try to help you grow your business and scale and be the leader that people want to follow. If I can help you in any way, make sure you reach out to Gene at genehammett.com. That's my email. And I'd love to help you grow and scale your business. That first conversation is absolutely free. And I promise not to even sell you. I promise to serve you to the highest level with all my skills and tools. I'll give you everything I can in that 1 hour. And if you really want to do that, just go to Gene at genehammett.com. Send me a quick email. Let's get it started. When you think of growth and you think of leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, lead with courage. We'll see you next time.